We call the meeting to order. It is July 24th, and this is the committee of the whole. Can I ask that someone please approve our agenda? Moved by Director Stoner, seconded by Director Hoffel. All in favor, any opposed, motion carries. Regional moment. District of Lillooet.
Thank you. Slide 1. So my regional moment is archaeology within the District of Lillooet boundary lines. This picture is the Southland peoples in Lillooet around 1862. There was a meeting with the Governor Seymour. Indigenous archaeology emerged when Indigenous peoples voiced their concern about non-Indigenous archaeologists studying Indigenous past without engagement. Today, Indigenous archaeology brings together Indigenous peoples and archaeologists through partnerships and collaboration. The vast majority of archaeology done in Canada focuses on Indigenous past, but it wasn't until the 1980s and 1990s that a few archaeologists began to truly work for and with Indigenous communities. And some of the basic practices in Lillooet, and in fact all of BC, now include involving Indigenous peoples in archaeology done on their ancestral lands and territories in which we live. And it's one of the many ways to know the past and their history. We include consultation, discussing an archaeological project with our Statland communities, participation involving Indigenous peoples in the archaeological project, and collaboration, building relationships and creating projects in partnership with Statland communities, ensuring these partnerships meet the needs of the Statland, the district, and the community. The goal of Indigenous archaeology is to have archaeological projects that work on Indigenous histories be either collaborative or community driven. We are working with our Statland neighbors, focusing on Cleakit communities for guidance and partnership. And where this comes into focus is primarily our infrastructure, leaky pipes, road upgrades, and anything that requires a district to dig, with the exception of the cemetery. Under current regulations, if cultural material is found within the first 25% of an excavation, then 100% of the hole must be sifted. This can significantly increase costs. So repairing a broken pipe, for example, can end up costing a fortune due to the requirements to hire multiple Statland ARC staff to conduct the sifting. Slide 2, please. So this map shows the District of Lillooet, the area where the ARC study would be required, and essentially encompassing the entire town. On the right is it's a photo of a street where a leaky pipe needed repair, and during that excavation, Statland skeletal remains were discovered. Work was halted immediately, and the district notified the Statland Nation to begin the appropriate protocols. The site was designated sacred, and the process took several weeks to complete. Among the skeletal remains, arrowheads and a bone flute was recovered. The bill was astronomical. We are working with the Statland Government Services with that. Next slide, please. So these are examples of what is the focus of sifting. And these basalt side notched arrow points used by the local nations for deer hunting, birds, and other animals. They were found in the Fountain Valley. And no, that's good. The ones on the right are microblades. They're small stone blades that are at least twice as long as they are wide. Microblades are found in many places across the world, but these ones are from our local area and were made 4,000 to 10,000 BP. And BP is before present, or years before present. And it is an archaeological time scale. And because of the present time changes, it goes back to January 1st, 1950, and everything BP is given from that date. Next slide, please. So this is a I hope I say this right, Iquimen. It's a hide scraper. Often jade is used to make the tools used to cut and shape wood and animal hides. These adzeds can take over 100 hours to craft. Next slide, please. And those are just some more. And next slide. So these slides, they help illustrate the importance of archaeological studies in uncovering artifacts that are not only vital to the Statland people, but also significant to the rest of the world. However, archaeological studies can be very costly for municipalities to fund on their own, which is why we are requesting provincial support to help cover these expenses. We will be working with the Statland with this as well. But this final slide, slide 6, presents our UBCM resolution, which I hope you will support to ensure that important cultural and historical preservation can move forward along infrastructure development. And that's it. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Questions? Go ahead.
I have two. Earlier in the presentation, there was a map with different colored polygons. Do the colors sort of represent whether we believe there's a greater or lesser likelihood of artifacts being found, or?
Yes, so in what we consider the red zone is the basis of most of the town, where the hop farm and where the landfill is a moderate amount. And as far as I know, not really anything has been found up there. But, and that's why they consider it moderate, so it's not so focused upon, but downtown and the downtown core is everything. So every time we dig, every time we fix a pipe, every time somebody, has anything,
And then you're mentioning, this is something we're finding as we're dealing with roads or leaky pipes and so on, which implies that the area's already been disturbed. Am I right in presuming that we just didn't care in the past, and so we're just finding stuff that we should have recognized before and just didn't?
Yeah, perhaps, but I know that there's one piece of road and it's right on our main street. And we've dug it 3 times and we still need to get people in there because maybe it has been missed. Things are missed too. So we're very careful to make sure that anything that we are doing is has people there and it's a staff and people there to make sure that we're not missing anything. And we're finding everything that belongs to their history. Very important to us. But like I said, it's very costly and we need help from the provincial government and communities like Lillooet, who is same with Lytton too. We don't want to miss that history.
Thank you for the presentation. Excellent. Got one question on residential properties. If somebody's going to be building a new property, what's the protocol for your archaeology?
As far as I know, on residential properties, it's not yet, but I know that Lytton, because when Lytton burnt, the front properties along the river are high archaeological suggested places, and they haven't been built on yet. But privately owned properties, no.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so moving on, we're gonna go to 5.1. We have a delegation. Would you like to come to the chairs? The presentation today from Clay Tyndall, General Manager of Forestry Operations, and Jordan Gabriel, Manager of Forestry for Community and Culture at Lillooet Forestry Ventures. Welcome. Thank you very much for joining us today. The floor is yours.
All right. Yeah, maybe I'll start. I'm Clay. Presented to you guys last year, and just wanted to provide you an update on some of the things that we're working on. Try to make it quick, and then brought Jordan along to answer any of the tough questions. So we manage the majority of the forest for the Lillooet Nation around. Here, basically going up the Lillooet River to the top of the Hurley, up to the Duffy, or up the basically the park up there. going this way down to Whistler, we work with the Checkmas Community Forest as well. And then we manage the areas, basically, we assist with managing the Shpokupin Community Forest, which is the joint community forest between the village of Pemberton and Lillooet Nation. And then we also have we manage the forest on reserve as well. So we have a couple woodlots that are near Owl Ridge and Reed Road over in that area. So, all right, next slide. So this is just an example of some of the higher elevation harvesting that we're doing, and working closely with Jordan, where we're doing more clear cut harvesting in the higher elevations, just often due to forest health. There's a lot of dead and dying trees up there, and as well, you know, the amount of wildfire that's happening up there. Just as a reminder, in Lillooet, we're looking at about, I think it was 30,000 hectares of wildfire in the past 10 years. So the harvest area that we can harvest in our First Nation woodland license is only 10,000 hectares. And we've had 30,000 hectares of fire in the last 10 years. So yeah, we're seeing a lot more a lot more fire affecting the landscape than any of the harvesting we could possibly do. So that's given us the direction to kind of, again, manage with that in mind for the higher elevations. Next slide, please. Lower elevations though, and this is some examples around the community of the new site. We are thinning out the forests to provide fire breaks. This was done without funding, so the trees funded the project. We've realized that the province has very little funding to do fuel thinning. So now we're trying to do all our fuel thinning projects funded through the trees themselves. So we might not be cleaning it up to quite the level of cleanup that was done before. And a lot of times we have some alternate methods of getting rid of the debris. But we're doing this type of work, leaving less trees behind, but still doing thinning as well in our woodlots near Owl Ridge. So and George's planning on taking a group out to take a look at it, kind of putting it out to the general public for people that want to see and get more explanation on that. All right, next slide. This is another basically initiative that we're working on, the cultural burning. So we've done some up in Owl Mountain and Tanquil, and we're implementing it now around the new site community in the understory of some of our fuel thinning. We've got some planned for Owl Ridge, up the Duffy Lake, down Lillooet River, and around the Ryan. So we've got quite a few areas that we're planning on increasing our cultural burning. That reduces the fine fuels that are left behind after tree removal and helps to lower the fire risk. And again, probably good to ask Jordan about the plants and the cultural values that come out of it as well. But yeah, we'll maybe chat about that after. Next slide. And this is the example of community members out picking some of the plants after the fires and disturbances. And like I said, I'll let Jordan explain a little bit more of that. Next slide. The other major project that we're working on is reviewing the old growth areas that we have in Lillooet. And a lot of those old growth areas have been identified, and we're just reviewing the health and status of them, ensuring that, you know, we're seeing biodiversity and cultural plants coming back in them, and that they're not, you know, too thick, over stagnant, you know, nothing growing under them and a huge fire risk. So we've got staff out collecting data in the old growth polygons. We're also looking at the possibility of doing thinning in other protected areas that were originally protected from harvesting. Spotted owl is an example. We've got, again, I'll give any hectare examples, 10,000 hectares in our woodland license we can harvest in. There's 6,000 hectares of spotted owl that's protected from any harvesting. But that's, again, we're looking at it as a huge fire risk. So we're working with Walrus and the Ministry of Forests and seeing how we can thin the forest, still provide those owl habitat requirements while still lowering the fire risk, and doing it through the value of the trees. So not getting provincial funding to do it. So removing enough trees to pay for the project. So and a lot of these projects are identified within the wildland urban interface that we're talking about, what we're thinning about. So again, looking at, you know, the value and the safety of the communities. So I think that's the last one. Maybe I'll just give you during a couple minutes of just talk about the cultural values that we're trying to bring out with this work we're doing.
Okay, so Jordan Gabriel, I look after all of the cultural values, and I do a lot of research with because all of our elders been interviewed right from the 60s till now. So finding out what the values were there that they already do, that fire in the ecosystem and having healthy forest was already disappearing, right? So I started looking them up and put them into our forestry practice. So any of you guys know how long it takes for a huckleberry to grow, right? Takes 8 to 10 years, right? So that's how long it takes. So these are all the information that we gathered, and next week I am bringing a bunch of our community members out to where there's a fire 10 years ago, and the huckleberries are growing really well, right? So some of these areas that we've had fire in within the last 3 to 5 years, the berries are coming back, but they're not there yet. We still got another 5 to 8 years for the berries to come back, and they come out really well right now. So the berries that are coming out right now taste way better than the ones you probably walk in a forest anywhere right now, because those ones are getting a little bit sour, and that's when our people always noticed when it was time to burn, when all the berry bushes were getting shadowed out from the other shrubs there, and that's when they picked the time to burn, right? And it's even with the ungulate winter range, like what Clay was saying, we're looking at the walrus group with a spot owl, but already looking at the ungulate winter ranges. The people where they used to go hunt, they used to burn the understory so that the deer would have browse to come back to. So these are all some of the stuff that we're looking at, and it's starting to come out well, but it's going to take time, right? So right from 1960, when they started talking about this, the chiefs and elders back then already noticed that we're losing out on these resources. And you guys remember the grizzly bear incident, right? And you take a step back and look at it, all forest fires that happened right from Salel Creek right through to the Stein, right? All the backcountry got burned. So what does that say? There's going to be nothing left for the bears back there, right? There's nothing going to be left for them to eat there. It's going to take 10 years for them to get back. So all these stuff that we protected in the past was great. Now we could come back to manage it, right? And this is hoping that the government would open up more of these to manage to thin around the communities, like what Clay said there with our project up around the new site. We went to 200 stems per hectare, right? So we're doing different densities just to see what it's going to be, what's going to happen there, because we need to get this knowledge back. We found the Ocean bush, that the soapberry bush that came out on one of our blocks, and we're lucky it was one of our crews that were out there doing the brushing, and they recognized the plant. They called me up, so we went to check it out, and we found it. So, and then doing all the research on this with different specialists from up north and First Nations elders, they said that you need fire in the ecosystems to get some of these plants back. So these are some of the strategies that we're doing and looking at. We had a tour with a spruce budworm just 2 weeks ago, right? So even talking about that, they're saying that with some of the practices that we're doing, like the 200 to 400 stems per hectare that we're leaving, that was still kind of too dense for them, right? That's some of the stuff that we've done in Whistler, but then we did 100 stem and lower, and the spruce budworm wasn't in there. So I think we got to go, fix these densities for the safety of the communities and for healthier ecosystems. So just stuff like that we're going through, and it's coming out good, and we can see some of the products happening. So yeah.
Probably just the last thing to add is that we are combining the cultural knowledge that Jordan's been working on really in depth with science as well. We've got UBC coming out and doing pre-treatment, post-treatment, and post-burn plots. Lori Daniels and her team from the Faculty of Forestry at UBC to look at how much fire reduction or fire risk reduction we're actually having and what kind of impact we're having by doing the work to help justify this for some of the people that say, you know, this work doesn't have any impact. We're able to prove it scientifically. And then we've also got, you know, UBC researchers like Suzanne Samard that, you know, she did the Mother Tree Project, if you've heard her, and she did a study in the Checkness Community Forest, again, showing the thinning that we're doing in the second row stands being huge and increasing the biodiversity and still maintaining those healthy tree relationships. So it's, yeah, it's really helping us to, you know, justify what we're doing by, you know, including both the traditional knowledge and the scientific knowledge. So it's, yeah, we're just hoping to continue doing what we're doing and just wanted to provide you guys that update. And yeah, and continue to get support from the SLRD as we move forward with it. So yeah, thanks.
This is really great. It's such a success story for our small community, this region, and having you here and is really important to sharing the message of the great work that you are doing. If there's any way that we can share your message through our social channels, what are your sort of go-to channels to communicating when you are doing a cultural burn so that you don't have community members saying, oh, there's smoke up in the fields, and how do you communicate that?
There's a lot. We have a staff member, Chris Lamarche, he's in charge of the cultural burning, and he runs it through our social media, through our kind of communications team, Amplify, but then through the nation's one as well. And then I think there's gonna be like communication with the local fire departments and everyone else as well, so.
So we are going to try to have an open house when we're gonna do the first burn around the community, and we're gonna hold that in the community first, right? So just to update them, and we're hoping to get that done within next mid-August, because we're planning the burn this fall. We're looking at, we're working closely with BC Wildfire Service, so they're gonna put us, get us a weather station and put it out to where we're gonna do the burn, and we're gonna monitor it from there. And once we get that installed, we'll be able to really focus on what day we could make it happen, right, with sites knowledge, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the last thing you want is panic in the community that there's, you know, calling BC Wildfire, they're already here.
But yeah, that's
We are talking to Highways Ministry of Transportation, and you know, those big signs that they put up, we're gonna ask them to see if they could put some of those up and around, just to show that what we're doing, yeah.
That's great, because it's so important. I do have a speakers list. Sorry, I jumped in with my own questions. But I'm super interested in this. I have Director Demare, then I have Director Herford, then I have Director Mack.
Thank you very for the presentation. Actually very informative. And have you guys looked at, for the tree thinning programs, have you reached out to the BC Forest Enhancement Society?
we have, they're running pretty short on money. Unfortunately, they've, so they said the province is out of money, so that's why we're trying to figure out how we can fund it with the value of the trees now. Because yeah, we have projects just up here that we had planned. And yeah, they said they thought it was a go, and then yeah, no money to do it, unfortunately, so yeah. Trying to be innovative.
Most of the time they like doing it where they can take the forest debris to a cogen plant. Like in Williams Lake area or Kamloops area, where they can send it to one that can utilize that fiber.
Yeah, we were able to do in Whistler, the last field thinning project, the fiber went down to the pulp mill.
Okay.
And they help
Exactly.
cover that cost, but yeah, unfortunately not right now, but pulp prices are higher, so
Yeah.
we're able to cover some of
Just
that.
one more question, if I can. Spruce budworm, like where we are, we've had it infestations now. One was about probably 8 years ago. It was really bad, and then the fur beetle comes in. And coming down to Hurley, it's red, and in the Whistler area, it's red. What do you envision happening with the spruce budworm issue?
So from the tour that we did, is usually happens and they stay like 3 to 5 years, right? The spruce budworm, and then they're supposed to disappear for up to 14 years. But then what happened was these two infestations came right close together, so that's what we're dealing with. probably has something to do with the climate, right? So, you know, these are some of the stuff that we have to take a look into, but then they said because usually they're separated between 14 years before they come back. And we're trying to get that information, like, when we do the cultural burn up on the Joffrey, area, we're hoping that they could come to do some, plots there before and after the burn to see what it'll do to them, right? See if that's the best to keep them out, right? Rather than doing anything else, because all the birds and all the crawling insects eat all the larvae when they fall off the trees. So, right, that's food for the other wildlife. So, you know, that's something that we have to look at to manage it to, so that's environmentally safe, right, for everything.
Have you seen any signs of beetles? Once those trees get stressed?
Yeah, no, there are bark beetles around here, for bark beetle, but it's not bad yet, but yeah, it is a concern for sure.
Okay, thank you.
I have Director Herford next.
Yeah, thank you for for all the work and for the presentation today. I was curious about this, the concept of finding a way to fund the fuel management for the trees. And I think I know the answer to this, but are you topping up? Are you able to do from building on some funds that are available, or is this fully the harvest is paying for?
The harvest is paying for it, yeah.
Wow.
We did get some funds to help with the cultural burn afterwards,
Okay.
but all the work itself and the cleanup was funded through the trees. I guess the difference before was we thinned from below, so we only cut the lowest value trees and we left the biggest ones. In the more recent, we cut a few of the nice trees, but we left the majority of them, but we cut enough nice trees to help cover the cost.
Yeah.
So we were still able to keep a forest behind, but we took enough that it was slightly profitable and able to cover the cost of the work and the additional cleanup that was done after we did, more raking than normally would be done to put the debris in piles and keep it safe for, from future fires. So, yeah.
Well, no, that's great, and I really appreciate that innovative approach, trying to find ways to get this work done. And I know that managing forest, you're managing for so many goals, so yeah, good job on balancing that all and finding a way to get it done.
We only had funds to do about 10 hectares around the community each year, and we had to do 200 hectares.
Yeah.
So it was like, yeah, it was, yeah, Jordan wouldn't be able to retire otherwise, so we figured we had to figure out a way to do it. Pay right. So, yeah, we did it all this year instead. So yeah, this year and last year. So yeah.
Great.
Yeah, thank you very much for all this, but one thing, can you guys just absolutely make sure you get your communications out to the outreach folks, or you're gonna start hauling logs through there?
Yeah.
I had a call yesterday. So anyways, yeah, just keep them informed and keep us informed here.
Yeah.
And then we can make sure that it's on our website and stuff like that.
Okay.
So we have reached out to them, right, and we even reach out to them to bring them in tours, but nobody's responded to us. We only had a few of them come to our open houses, so, right?
Well, the thing is, if you do your part and they don't do their part, that's their problem.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it. You're trying to accommodate them, and if they don't show up, well, then they have no reason to be bitching about it, right? So. Good stuff.
I had a question around communications, but I feel like Russell just covered it off for me. So my other question was, I'll ask this on behalf of my council colleague in Squamish, Eric Anderson. In terms of what, I am curious how and where the logs are transported once they're harvested. So from a corridor wide perspective and transportation, what are the key areas and avenues that you folks use for supply, the broader supply chain and getting logs to market?
Right now, our logs either come from here and go to the Squamish sorts and get put in the water and get taken. We're working with Squamish Nation and their log sort. Surprisingly, we do have a lot of logs going into the interior mills as well. So they're going up and over there hill by truck. Yeah.
Does anything get moved by rail?
No, not at the moment.
Thank you.
Even at the Lillooet?
Even further,
Yeah,
yeah,
furthest is durable stone, right? So,
yeah,
yeah.
they buy some of our cedars, yeah.
So interesting. And Director Hoffel, you're my last question.
And that was kind of my question too, was where they were going, so I'll just go with, now I know why we can't buy huckleberries in the store. They only grow every 8 to 10 years, and I've seen the plants are very sparse. But I just wanna say thank you for everything you're doing, because I feel like, you know, and I really enjoyed your presentation last year too, but this year with the movement of taking good trees to fund the project is, I feel like you guys are just the champions of this, and you know, how can we get the rest of BC to see what you're doing and whatever we can do, you know, I'm the mayor of Lillooet, and we have a lot of forest around there, and whatever we can do to help you or to help you spread, you know, what you're doing, that would be, you know, we would be happy to do that, but thank you.
Thanks. I've been on we got one of our trucks that's got a hole in it, our new IR truck, so just probably to let you guys know as well, we have the province is working with us to have an initial attack crews now for First Nations communities. So we have our own initial attack crew to you know, provide fire services around this area. So we work with the ministry initial attack crews whenever there's lightning and things like that to get out. And it's a big F-550 with all the stuff in the back, but it just got hit a rock going down the lake road, hit underneath and wrecked the oil pan. So, but we do have type 2 crews as well. And they basically assist the initial attack crews on fires. We have 2 of those, and we actually have 5 type 3 crews as well. So we're pretty well set up for local firefighting as well. So I just thought just so you guys can maybe let your shoulders down a little bit, to know that we do have a lot of support here for that too. So yeah, thanks.
That's great.
That's excellent.
And we do have to say a big thanks. These folks did show up when we had a fire in Squamish last month, and they came to help our crews. And it's one of the things that we're always so grateful for is the regional support in moments of need. And thank you for showing up.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you very much. This is exciting, and we'd love to have you back as soon as you've got some other news to share.
On the regular, I feel like we need more time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, well, man.
Okay, so we are now going to ask that someone make the motion that we close this meeting to public. Yes, Director Hoffel, seconded by Director Herford. All in favor, any opposed, motion carries.